Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Hey, Coach Jay, I can hear you loud and clear. At the buzzer. Zzz. How are we doing today? On a pretty significant down move. How was your day, Coach?
Pretty significant down move for sure. My day was a mixed bag. Got some decent signals for trades. Didn't execute well. Threw a couple turnovers, some interceptions, whatever you want to call it. But mixed bag. But I saw Monica in the chat says, I hope someone in the chat made money today. Who was short? Who caught the short? Beautiful short this morning. Really all day. Haven't seen a trend day like this in a little while. So it was kind of nice to see, even though it was to the downside. But welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this session is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we can take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. This is our first time meeting. I'm Coach Jay, been a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023. And that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some of my experience, some knowledge, and hopefully help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. Thank you for that, Coach Paul. You are all our chat, our audience. Again, let us know how you did in the chat. Seeing GDL, Sean said, printed money all day. GDL got short, stayed short.
Nice.
When traders ask, how can we hold trades all day? You need this type of price action in order for you to do that. Could have pretty much held that trade for the auto liquidator, depending on where you got into the trade. So great stuff there. Nice trading. Let's take a look at the news really quick on the Trader Hub. We didn't have much as far as planned numbers go. We had some smaller numbers. We had Canadian CPI. We had some housing starts. Pretty close to in line with expectations. And pretty quiet overall. Nvidia-led tech decline breaks summer calm in the equities is the headline here. Nasdaq was down about 1.5%. We do have Jackson Hole starting this week. We got a Powell speech on Friday. So the market may be, waiting for that, but it didn't really look like we were waiting today. I did see some news out of, I believe it was Apple as well, saying that they were going to be cutting their AI development team. Or no, that was Meta. Sorry, Meta cutting their AI development team. That kind of led to some of the selling that we were seeing. We were on with John London earlier today, and he mentioned that, and we continued to sell. So tech looking pretty heavy right now. Tech looking heavy. Anything you got on the news, Coach Paul?
Nothing besides that. We have Jackson Hole, which has now become a big news event. But interesting that we broke like that on not any big headline. So is it beginning of something bigger? We'll see. But Nasdaq leading the way down, and we'll go through it.
There, and Courtney put it in the chat as well. Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, talking about an AI bubble. No way, you don't say. AI is the word everywhere. But yeah, the headline that I see says, while raising trillions of dollars, he's talking about an AI bubble. And it's what was the metaverse, right? What was the thing? It was metaverse for 2 years. Everyone was talking about the metaverse, and where are we with that? Is there an AI revolution coming? There probably is, but are all of the companies that we see getting into the AI space going to survive? That's a big no. That is usually what a bubble looks like, right? Everyone runs to it. What did we have during COVID? What was it during COVID? There was a bubble as well. Had something to do with IPOs, but they were doing them a weird way. What was the word? I can't remember it, but that was a bubble also. NFTs bubble.
Well, Nvidia was down 3.5% today.
Yes.
SPACs.
Was
there any big news out of there?
Out of NVIDIA, I didn't see. Let me see if there's news out of NVIDIA that I missed. Yes, you guys remember ICOs and SPACs, right? All of COVID. Uh, Shout out to Shamath. Uh, Chamath, there was SPACs, different SPAC every day. Uh, and they were opportunity, but when that bubble popped, it popped. Uh, there was
Uh,
the Nvidia news. The one Nvidia headline that I had was their special chips for China specifically. I didn't see any negative news necessarily, but I might have been missing something. But chat will let us know for sure. He just launched the new spec. Nice. Infinite money glitch for someone. Um, talk about the markets, Coach Paul. We got 35 different markets. We can trade with Topstep accounts. Today to the downside, we have micro Bitcoin. We were talking about this one in the green room, down 2.86%. Natural gas down 4.19, and micro Ethereum futures, our biggest percentage mover to the downside at 5.04%. To the upside, we had heating oil up 0.51%. The Ultra bonds up 0.59%, and soybean meal, our biggest percentage mover to the upside at 1.34%. That was actually the biggest percentage mover to the downside yesterday. To talk about our big four, we have crude oil down 1.24%, S&P is down 0.54%, gold down 0.56%, and the Nasdaq, our biggest percentage mover to the downside, with Nvidia being down 3%. The Nasdaq is going to be down as well, down 1.36%. We do have Nvidia earnings in 8 days. It is on the 27th, so we'll be paying attention to that. Maybe we have another watch party with Jack and Andre. But Nvidia looking heavy right now. Can you call it heavy? It's a stock that was making all time highs recently. I got
it's part of the volatility in there.
yep.
So not unexpected, or not without being in line with the volatility. But one day does not a trend make.
Speaking of which, I got a daily chart up here, Coach Paul, in the Nasdaq. What are you seeing here?
A little turnaround. This is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th day in a row. Downside. Is this a buying opportunity? No, the way I measure it, not yet, but it could set up to be. One concern, though, on my chart is it settled underneath the 20-day moving average.
20-day moving average. I have it at 23,533 in the Nasdaq.
And we settled under it.
Settled under it.
Now, that doesn't mean it's the top, but that's the first sign of weakness in the trend analysis. Interesting. We picked up volume today. Where the last 2 days were last few days were
4
below
days, yeah.
average volume. So not surprisingly, we picked up the average volume. Now, this could be a great time to buy it. Let's look at both sides of the coin. I couldn't do it right now, but why not? I mean, the bull market is still intact. There's a buy the dip. We've just got a dip. So let's. I'm not willing to get too bearish here. How many times do we have 5 days in a row downside?
Downside, not many. Not many at all, especially this year. I think we'd have to go back to February. Yeah, here we go. 3 daily dojis. These all can count as down days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
7 might be the record for the year.
Well, then we had that. So does that rhyme? Is that setting up to be a bigger break? One thing we know is we don't know, but technically it's the first sign. It's of weakness. Now it's still above the 50-day moving average. but it doesn't go straight down, and we're day traders. So I'm looking at this as a place they're probably going to spring back up in the next, maybe tomorrow, but I would not get short in this hole.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Mr. Dev says first it was a 3 down day theory, then it turned into a 4 down day theory. Now it's a 5 down day theory. Depends on who you ask that theory. Some people subscribe to that, right? If it's 3 down days in an uptrend, you buy it. Uh, but you got to trade the market that's in front of you, also, right? Especially with day trading. Uh, and that was a pretty heavy sell off today. Let's go to the 30-minute chart, Coach Paul. I'm going to pull up extended trading hours here. What do we got from last night? Pretty consolidated.
Well, there we go. To me, if it settles above and a half hour above that 200, oh wow, it's very far away. So I'm really for my trading, I'm looking for a place to buy it. There's nothing there. We've been below it for what, 3 days now? Um, so
Yep.
let's look at last night after the close yesterday, it rejected. It started selling early and often couldn't really catch a bid. There was one time it rallied, but on the opening, when the volume came in, they sold it and did not, in that chart, buy it. Anything in there you see, Coach?
No buying. No buying in this market really at all. Mr. Dev, I don't know what's going on there. Yep. Uh, no buying really at all, Coach Paul, from this start. Again, we were under that 200 moving average. There was a level that we've been looking at pretty much all week going into last week, 23,775s. It was an area that, Hogue and I were talking about during the opening call that if we start to see some volume trade below that level, uh, we could see a sell off. And that is kind of what we got here. That 23,775 area was 50% of the PPI candle. We've been talking about this one. It looked pretty heavy, right? We had a lot of rejection up at those highs. We finally got the selling below that. And, we talked about if we see that selling below 23,600s is a potential target here. And that was just the start of the move, apparently, today, where there was a ton of selling that came into this market. New York session started, Coach Paul, and that 23,775 area. We didn't even look above it, right? We didn't take one trade above it once that volume came in for New York. And it was find a place to get into that trend to the downside. One of the things, Coach Paul, one of the things Hogue and I talked about this morning was in gold, in the equities, we're seeing a consolidation. We're seeing, daily ranges consolidate. Yesterday's range was, 160 points in the Nasdaq when the daily ATR is about twice that. Whenever this break happens, it's usually not one that you want to try to fade, right? There's a lot of momentum building up here. Hogue was talking about positive open interest in the S&P yesterday on a down day with barely any movement, right? I think the S&P, was an even tighter range. What was it? High to low, the S&P yesterday was a 27-point range, and we added open interest. Whenever that break happens, it's like they're building momentum for a move, and we don't really get to choose which way it's going to break, but when it does, it's not a move that you want to fade. And that's exactly what we got today. Really nice trend to the downside.
Yeah, like we said earlier in the broadcast, this was without any big news. So can we, consider profit taking, take some risk off the table coming into the end of August or before Jackson Hole? I don't know, but there were a couple times in a 3-minute chart on the Nasdaq we had possible bottoms. and we talk about the J trade, you know, let's look at that
In the Nasdaq,
in the Nasdaq or in the S&P was more likely, but the Nasdaq.
was it up at
Now
the?
we're talking about a J trade. Look in the Nasdaq, which
Mhm.
was the weakest. There was no big selling volume that
We closed
you could
above.
look at. Not one. I looked for it,
There was a little one here. It was a
but
little
we
one,
didn't
but
trade above it.
yeah, and the thing is as well is that it wasn't, a lot of the time it looks like this was just barely over that average. A lot of times it's 2, 3x the average. We never got it. So a lot of that
Yeah.
higher volume, and again, it depends on the time frame that you look, where these are two high volume candles back to back, where we held that, right? So if I was looking at a 5 minute candle, is this a signal? Um, this was just continuation. Sometimes, Coach Paul, we talk about that. High volume doesn't always mean reversal because they could just be liquidating. And on a day like today, uh, they were just liquidating. We never got to close above any of these.
So now we're seeing, like you said, the word liquidation, and this definitely was liquidation. The highest volume of the day was the opening 3 minutes. Um, and then we left the range. And as someone said in the chat, see ya. um, I never recovered. Being and it was the weakest one on the bunch, wasn't it? By far, I think.
Yeah, it definitely was. It definitely was. The Nasdaq down, 1.5%. The Russell down 0.75. The Dow was actually up today. The Dow said, "I'm just going to do whatever I want to do," and the S&P down 0.5%, down a
Well,
half.
maybe it's rotation,
Maybe
putting
so.
money into blue chips and taking it out of Nasdaq. That would be some evidence of that.
Absolutely. Looking at the Dow really quick, uh, again, it held up. It held up. All right, Mr. Dev, I'm gonna have to mute you. I'm sorry, bro. I'm not trying to be distracted today. Thank you for coming. Try again tomorrow. Thanks. Uh, all right. Let's see. What do we got in the Russell, Coach Paul? I know you like to look at the Russell. What are we seeing here?
We're also still holding up. Nice down day with light volume. Nothing much to say there. Still above all the averages. Made new lows on this correction, but really finished pretty well, considering if you measured against Nasdaq, still above that big volume, big rally day. Let's look at the half hour.
Right, we got the half hour. We did see some selling last night. We traded back up to that 200 moving average, Coach Paul. I know we tend not to look at the Russell in the overnight session. Um, was a decent trade, but right as that New York session was opening, we checked that 200 moving average on the 30-minute. Nice rejection off of that price and right back down into that range. What is that white line up there?
That is the 200 bar moving average. And boy, and we look at that. We wicked. Let's break it down. To what time did that wick? It happened on the opening, I believe.
This was around 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Central Time. So there were some economic numbers that came out at that time. Let's see what was on the calendar. Some minor economic numbers, but we say minor, but a lot of times, we'll see them affect other markets. Maybe not the Nasdaq and the S&P. Oh, we also had Bowman speaking. Uh, so something there. There was a headline that came out. Headline or not, it came to a technical level that we look at all the time. That 200 moving average, and a pretty nice rejection off of there. Uh, would you have traded that with a 2 ATR stop and been safe? You could have on the 30-minute. Nice rejection
Well, it
there.
never closed above there.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
No, it so interestingly, that looked like it was without if we go we don't know what's going on to the right of us when that happened. Even if you bought it, I mean, I'll tell you, I wouldn't buy it if I bought it above the 200.
Mm.
I look at that, that looks healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, I could lose money and buy that? Absolutely. I'm not
You're
I'm
right.
not here to tell you that it is can I take proper risk? Yeah, I can take proper risk. I bought it. It didn't work out. I had an average loss. Now, if you're going to be trading for any amount of time, you can't have in your mindset that I'm going to be 90% right. I mean, that's the beginning of the end. I've suffered that when I was on my biggest winning streak. Like, I'm infallible. I know I've got it figured out.
Yep.
So just looking at that trade, if we close the white lines, the 200, okay, if I take that, I have to have a risk either 2 ATRs or close below the white line.
TRs on a 3 minute would have been about 5 points here in Russell. And there you go. Stopped out.
Boy,
And you're happy about it.
that's a good loss. No,
Great
we don't
loss.
talk, and most of the time we're going to see it on social media, but good losses are when you take good losses, you're on the road to success. Coach, how many times have you seen, being a coach or being around traders or done it yourself, where uh, taking bad losses blows up an account?
Yep. Yeah, it happens too much. Way too much. Where it's any given trade, and for whatever reason your thought process slips a little bit, your discipline slips, and you don't stick to a stop, or you just hold on to saying, hey, this one has to be right. And it usually costs you. Set these parameters, risk parameters, in low pressure times, right? Usually when the charts aren't even open, for that reason, because we want to make decisions with sound logic about how we should approach risk. But when you're in the middle of a fight, it's not the time to learn how to play defense, right? It's not the time to learn how to hold your guard up when someone's, you know, hitting you. Uh, so when you do it before, it makes it a little easier.
Someone pointed out there was a J trade there.
Yes, there was Courtney.
Very good. Wow.
Courtney with the
Let's
good
give a
eyes.
golf clap. Who was that?
That was Courtney. Of course it was.
Courtney. Yeah, she's good. Very. There's my golf clap. Awesome catch. I didn't even see it there.
Higher
There you
volume than
go.
the open, close below it, and that was your signal. Volume can be a signal. In this case, higher volume than that open, and VWAP left the range. Pretty nice trade there. Uh, yeah, really nice one there. Lata says, today I had a bad win. My P&L was great, but I didn't follow my process, and that to me seems worse. We don't talk about that often either. You know, I think one of the scariest things, Coach Paul, in trading is getting great results and not understanding how you got them.
Yes.
Because then I try to replicate it, but I don't know what the hell I did. So now I'm just chasing a goal instead of a process. So Lata, review your trades today. It's a better lesson to learn with some money in your pockets than without it. Maybe it's an easier lesson to learn or a harder lesson to learn. Um, when you do lose, but you don't want to ingrain any bad habits that you may have learned from winning. Because it's just like, okay, well, I can do it again. I broke process and got good results. So just review. I wouldn't look too much into it, but you know, you want to be able to do something repeatable, and then that bring you results
That is, by the way, there's another golf clap. That's great perspective.
for sure.
I mean, that's a big step for a trader. I made money and I don't know why. That's that's a great way to look at it. Um, and that goes when we'll go back to that's when you journal and you put that and you go back like, okay, I understand. Um, because then you begin to really shred all the bad decisions or the bad understand how you're making bad decisions, whether bad decisions can be winners. Um, just had good luck,
Yep,
but I like to hear that. But that's a really good um, step towards success. Keep it up.
absolutely. Uh, yeah. Speaking of journaling, what's in my journal today? One line: choosing not to take the signal is an interesting choice. That is my journal today. One line: choosing not to take your signal is an interesting choice. It says a lot to me. So, yeah, it doesn't have to be a whole lot. Doesn't have to be a whole lot. All right, let's take a look at gold on the 30-minute. Actually, let's look at the daily real quick, Coach Paul. And Matthew, don't worry about it. I don't even remember what you're apologizing for. It's all good. We're in this together.
We're
Uh,
all in this together. But
uh, what are we seeing on the daily, Coach Paul, in
boy,
gold?
we're starting to leak.
Yeah,
Now, what I mean by that, we're breaking on lower volume. When we talk about, I mean, it's not near it's not near a low because we haven't had selling exhaustion. Yet we keep just leaking lower. And look at the 50 and we're below that, the 50 and the 20, which are like linked together. We've broken that uptrend line. We've stayed below it now for a week. This is starting to, if longer term traders or owners might start getting nervous. This needs to recover. We're still in the range, don't get me wrong, but the uptrend line that we had has been broken and it stayed under it. The longer it stays under it, the more this downside becomes a downtrend. So, um, there we go.
for our trend line pros, do you adjust this here or do you start a new
No,
trend line? You don't. You got to leave it.
no. Why? Because how many times did we touch that uptrend line?
Right. One,
More
two,
than
three.
more times than I have fingers.
Right.
And when we captured it, what did we get?
Got
Big
some
selling.
big selling. Yep. Yeah.
This is not a friendly chart to me. Um, Now, with that said, let's go to this range we've had. We're still in it. But what's concerning to me from the long side is we're just starting to slip here on light volume.
Yeah.
So, one thing we can take out of that, and I'll say volume for our fans who like to hear that. Um, yeah, you would like to see some kind of buying here.
Yep.
Um, Yeah, I like the JD, lack of clear price action is a signal. So what is at JD, what do you consider that a signal of? That's a good point. To me, I would take that as a signal that there's the long-term buyers are not involved here.
Uh, yeah, not at all. And I think back to this daily really quick. And Rich and Betsy, I saw your question about that 5-minute chart. So we'll take a look at that. It looks like the target, right? Just if we zoom out, 3330s, 3320s, the lower extreme of that range. I mean, we could be there tonight if gold wants to continue to sell this way. We're kind of falling out of the middle of that range. Couple of consolidated days, but today was a pretty nice day to the downside, and we're trading on the. I think gold is making new lows as we speak. Uh, since we've started at the buzzer, gold has made a new low on the day. So
Yeah.
interesting here. Let's take a look at the half an hour. Very much the same. We have that 200 moving average up here. We checked it in the overnight session. I know Dakota and I were both looking for longs last night, just kind of back up towards this 200 moving average. Was a decent trade last night. Wasn't the best trade. If we look at the volume spike from the Asia session, the start of the Asia session, which is 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Central, was a decent trade, but we really just got no follow through, right? I took the trade off for a scratch. Dakota took it for a small loss, and a measured loss because he was able to end the day profitable on his side because he measured that loss. Same thing we were talking about before, Coach Paul. Good losses. If I said that gold had to go up today, or counts going into the shredder, it was going in the shredder. Um, if I didn't accept what that loss looked like, so measure the risk, and you can take another opportunity. But really nice selling here. The house account this morning took a 5-minute opening range trade to the downside. 7:20 Central Time, 8:20 Eastern. We broke that opening range to the downside. Chat voted for a 1 minute. Oh, sorry, for a 5 minute. We broke it to the downside, and that trade was never invalidated, Coach Paul. Uh,
Yeah.
no, we cut
That was
it.
it.
Go ahead.
Look at that volume when it made the low.
Oh yeah,
Now there's a but there was big volume. That's what I'm saying. The biggest volume keeps coming from the sell side. So we had a J trade there.
yeah. Rich was asking about this one, right? Do you consider this a J trade? 100%. And actually, if you rewatch the opening call, at this time, this was 9:10 Eastern time, 8:10 Central. I actually said to JD, I don't mind cutting this trade and getting back in because of the volume that we saw here. Now, was it a J trade? It was. Did we get a 2-to-1? We didn't. We got close to a 1.25 to 1. But you could have taken this. But this is where Coach Paul and I both say, setting expectations for the trades. If I'm looking for a 2-to-1, or if I'm looking for a complete reversal of the move, the market has to agree with that as well. So this is a trade that you could have taken and been completely right about this trade, but wrong about the direction of the market. But if you're not managing your trade, if you're not taking profits when they present themselves to you, you may take a loss, right? Some traders may put this trade on and say, you know what, either 2-to-1 or stop me out. And that's a management choice. In this case, uh, it just would have been a loser, which is fine, right? Because that's how if you manage every trade like that, then it's okay, right? Because you've measured for that. But yeah, this was definitely one here that you could have taken. But look, when we close below VWAP from that high volume, that could be your signal. Coach Paul, you use that one a lot, right?
Bingo.
When it closes
Yeah.
below that VWAP, you're out.
Yeah. Now, especially, we one thing we preach it is you get incomplete information. What do I mean by that? There's no certainty, right? There's only uncertainty, but you get new information. I'll take that trade. Now, how do you manage it? Kind of old school. I'll take the loss because I know that it's measured loss within my account size. Now, the difference between going, I love this trade, buy 10.
Right.
No, it's the same. The risk is new lows. How much was that on a micro? What about $100?
Here, it's about 120 bucks.
Okay, so I'm willing to take that to make 240.
Okay, hold on a second. So Rich is right. Sorry, go ahead, Coach Paul.
Um, I'm willing to take it. Before I get in, I predefine the risk, accept it, take it, move on. I don't mind it. But for those of we've seen this before, that VWAP, when it closes below VWAP, I have new information. It didn't hit my 2-to-1. I can choose to say, all right, that's it. I'm done. And I might lose a little, maybe even make a little, basically scratch the trade. A scratch is a win, by the way. Um, but you had new information. One of the things you have to understand is don't go back and go, how could I have done that better? If you have a trade, I believe it's an edge. I truly believe J trades are an edge. But an edge is something that comes out over time, not every trade, not every day.
Great point.
I'll take that. Again, I have no problem, you know, love your losers. What does that mean? Make them good losers. You improve by improving your losing side, not your winning side.
Great
Over
point.
time. That's how it comes out. But boy, I tell you, when J trades don't work off the lows,
Yeah,
off of that volume too.
that was huge.
And then we got more than double volume again after it into new lows. So kind of more evidence that there's liquidation going on in gold.
Yep. Sometimes high volume means continuation. And in this case, it did. Nice bounce here. Again, pretty close to a 2 to 1, but reasonable expectations, especially in a counter trend trade, right? That long was counter trend for the time, and definitely did turn back around. All right, let's take a look at crude oil really quick. Coach Paul, JD shared an article today that there's the largest net short position in crude oil ever by institutions right now, or not ever, since 2009. Largest net short crude oil position.
Thank you, JD.
To the moon, Alice. To the moon.
To the moon.
Uh,
Okay. Since 2009?
yeah, and if you look at a crude chart since 2009, it rallied all of 2009, 2010, and 2011.
Well, I'm almost speechless, really. Which
Yeah,
would make sense considering that OPEC is trying to keep this price down. Um, let's look at the daily. So what would you consider if those shorts had to cover? Well,
it's
one of the things is we're not look at those ranges. What the heck? I think that I'll quote you, Coach Jay. Those are ranges for ants.
yep.
Um, we have that big of short interest, and the market's going sideways, and the volatility is being squeezed out of it. It wouldn't take much. I don't know what it is. Don't get me wrong. A nice hurricane. I can't say nice because you have to be nice. A hurricane season
hmm
and a disaster. Yeah. Um, boy. No, where's the 200 moving average?
It is at 63.34.
Okay. And we're not, it's trading a lot and it's not doing anything, right? What I
Yeah,
mean by it, you have that kind of short open interest and it's really going sideways. So catalyst would be at least a close above the 200. Um, and then, a hurricane that hits the Gulf.
that's not the
But
catalyst, but it has the potential to be. We are coming into hurricane
yeah,
season. Has the potential to be. And like JD was saying, 2009. I'm just mapping out 2009 here. 2009's range. Here we go. So that's 2009. The one thing I did ask JD Coach Paul was when did that short interest come in 2009? If he knew, because early 2009, right, January through March, we were looking very similar price wise to where we are right now, right? I hate the way this box looks. What is this? Get out of here. All right. Very similar, right? Not a lot of price action, kind of just hanging out at these lows, and then a 2-year rally in crude oil. I mean, we're day trading here, but that is very interesting. Very interesting.
Um, yeah. Well, it takes bad selling to create a good rally. So maybe we're on that, um, but we're not there yet. Day trading. Let's look at the half hour to start.
Here's last night's open. And the VWAP from there and London session open. I don't know what that spike was last night, but London open right there. Pretty choppy, but choppy to the downside. That flow was negative all day.
Yes, it was. But look at the range. That range, like you just said, and look at the volume. Was there any volume on that range? What was the? I mean,
This here, that was like a 1 minute candle. That was
um,
yeah,
is it could be the rollover.
right. Could be
Stock
that.
is now the front month.
Could be roll. Correct.
Most likely, that's the rollover, and that probably a function of how that rollover was created. So, this is important. If you've ever done any back testing, or you see funky things like this, most like in futures, check the rollover date. If we brought up CLU, but we can't, can we?
No, we can't.
Okay, so that probably has something to do with the rollover. Um, and that was on the 1 minute.
This is a 3-minute chart, but yeah, same thing.
Okay, yeah, that would definitely had something to do with the rollover. But either way, let's look at the average true range on the daily and the crude.
Right now, $1.77.
What was it 2 weeks ago or a month ago?
$3.5, 2.5, closer to
Okay.
three.
What does that mean? Volatility in crude is really collapsed.
Yep.
Volume has gone to lows. It is at a very low level. We have, if a record short, if not close to it. So my experience tells me at some time there's going to be a really good opportunity to focus on crude. It's not there yet. But think about this. All of that selling, right? And we're going sideways. And we're not creating any kind of volume. Keep my eye on crude. If we were trading options, I'd just start buying straddles, but we're not. So I won't go deep into that.
Interesting. And again, anything we talk about here is for educational purposes only, not any trading, investment, or investment advice. But yeah, that is definitely something to keep an eye on. When JD said that, he's like, "This is very interesting. Again, we're not seeing that market move lower." Uh, we know crude oil is a very headline-driven market. There are some potential catalysts for headline moving or market moving headlines in crude oil. But we got about 15 minutes left here, Coach Paul. Anything else you want to take a look at? I know one for sure: micro Bitcoin, moving like the
Yeah.
equities.
Michael Saylor in trouble? I don't know.
Hey,
But
you're just gonna hodl.
he's, it's, you know, depending on your viewpoint, Hodling does work.
Yeah,
Depends where you got in.
that's the thing, right? Yeah, the person who's buying up here up at 125s, they're just like, this doesn't just. I knew it was fake.
Yeah. Well, hindsight is the wisdom of fools.
Right.
We don't have hindsight. They don't let us put margin on hindsight. But in the present, down to the 50-day moving average, it's kind of what we talked before. It kind of looks like the Nasdaq chart a little bit.
Yep.
But today's action was one way. If we look at the half hour, so yesterday or 2 days ago, is it Monday or Friday? We closed below the 20-day moving average on the daily. All right. Now we've been under the 200 moving average on the half hour. Oh, since Friday.
Yep, that was Friday.
Friday, near the close, we have that big sell, big volume. That's continuation volume under the 200, and what we have not recovered. Look at that. Wow. So, I mean, whatever, for whatever reason, that it can't catch, the old saying, can't catch a bid. So last night we tried, there was some buying late yesterday and on the opening.
Sold it immediately.
It was someone found some Bitcoin.
Yep.
Now, why I think that it's Bitcoin, or especially um, crypto. I'm used to being a futures trader. I mean, it's getting short is really easy. It's just as easy as getting long. It's a lot more difficult in the crypto to get short until futures came around. And it seems to me someone said, get short or liquidate, because look what happened right off the opening.
Yep.
It just,
Right off the open, then the equity open, right? Where if Bitcoin is going to start trading like the equities, it might move around the same time. Not a coincidence that that's where we see that volume come in as well, and sell it all. Here's and we're being a little dramatic. We're talking about day trades here. Is it selling it all? No, but Bitcoin was down 2.5% today, so that is a pretty big move for a day trader to be a part of. A nice continuation volume here on this 3-minute chart, highest volume of the day. Never close above it, Coach Paul. Sometimes that high volume is going to mean continuation. In this case, liquidation, continuation. That's your spot to now get into the trend and risk on the other side if you think there's more room down. Again, we're seeing this in hindsight, but it could be the same trade. Continuation trade is close outside that range, volume's leaving, risk on the other side, and you definitely get a 2-to-1 there as well. So, ton of opportunity in this market.
wow. Maybe it was the news that Big Sexy said. Articles published that this morning discussing potential revisions to. Oh no, that wasn't it. Sorry, Billy. I read the wrong one. Besson said they weren't purchasing Bitcoin for the crypto reserve. All the Bitcoin in the reserve is from confiscated Bitcoin.
Interesting.
So, was this rally predicated upon that?
I think part
Possibly.
of it was probably so. Yeah, probably
Um,
so. But if you confiscated Bitcoin, interesting. I wonder who it was taken from. I know one brand.
oh, that we could do a
Oh
whole day
yeah.
on that.
Yep.
Yeah, the government has a lot of Bitcoin. They confiscated 8, 10 years ago. For those of you viewers who remember Mount Gox,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um, and all the drug deals that were, yeah, they've confiscated quite a bit. I don't know what the size is, but it's considerable. It's not small.
Chat saying
Maybe I
The
should give it
Silk
away
Road.
to the
Yep,
Silk Road,
chat
yes.
knows. Chat knows what's up. Uh,
Uh,
and shout out to Big Sexy. I haven't seen Big Sexy in a while. Good to see you in the chat. There were articles published this morning discussing potential revisions to job numbers, although not specifically a confirmed 1 million job adjustment today. Yeah, we did see that as well. Again, that job data over the past couple of weeks has been in question a ton. And if we're seeing more revisions, uh, yeah. And remember, those revisions weren't good, right? The revisions that we saw were like, hey, this was a lot worse than we thought. So take that for what you will. Uh, all right. Any other markets to you want to talk about, Coach Paul?
um, let's take a look at the dollar and this or euro currency. We haven't talked about that in a while, and it's kind of a slide, but it is August.
Let's take a look at the euro and in Jello. I saw your question. Can you explain the J trade? Yes, we can. I'm definitely turning that one into a YouTube short. All right, the euro, Coach Paul, on a daily. What are we seeing?
Um, Continuation to the downside here, correction. Now, the 20 has gotten under the 50. Warning sign. So when's the last time it crossed above?
The 20, the 20 crossing above the 50?
Yeah. So it was a while
It's
ago. It
been yeah,
was like 3
it's been
months
up there
ago.
for a while. 3 months. It's been since since February. Yeah, February 27th. About what month are we
It's
in?
almost 6 months.
6 months. Yeah.
Hmm. So still above the 200, but what are we seeing? We're seeing sideways action, which can be it isn't unexpected being August in Europe, being pretty slow, taking long vacations in August. It traditionally the euro currency slows down in the month of August. But here we are under the 50, the 20 start is closing under the 50. It's lost its momentum. Can it be a change of trend if we do a trend line off those lows? Um, yeah, we've lost the trend line. Can it turn around? Yeah. Um, Kind of bearish. Or I could say the trend is definitely changing here.
Yep.
Um, is it going to pick up steam? We'll see. But right there with that action, wouldn't take much to push it over, would
Mm.
it? Um, let's keep an eye on that for the downside.
An eye on it. I see some traders saying the dollar caught a little bit of a bid. Uh,
Mm,
Dollar chart there. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. It has a lot of work to do. If you look at it, man, that is not happening to my savings. Why is it's happening
yeah.
to the value of my dollar? It is just getting killed. For all of the Bitcoin enthusiasts, this is why they're saying hodl. Dollar is doing this. Doesn't look great, but see if we're getting a little bit of a bounce. Maybe we get a recovery. Uh, all right. Any other? Oh, we got a request for the Dow. Again, we'll take a look at the Dow really quickly. Didn't really do much today. The Dow is showing as stronger right now in this time frame than the S&P and the Nasdaq. Coach Paul did mention rotation a little bit earlier. We do have the 20, 50, and 200 moving averages all kind of showing uptrend. We're above the 20. Indecisive day today in the Dow. And we're also in an area that I think we've seen rejection in the past, right? This kind of zone up here. So, does the Dow break out, continue to make new highs, or is this another spot where we reject. We kind of got stuck at 45,000s today in the Dow. All-time highs are, I think, less than 5% off. Yeah, we're less than 3% off the all-time high. So we may see it, but it has some work to do. It has some work to do. The Dow and the Russell just don't move as fluidly as the S&P and the Nasdaq do. So we see there. But if you had to look for a bullish equity market, it's the Dow right now. That could change tomorrow.
Yeah, and it could be a sign of a top in the Nasdaq. Could be. Once again, keyword could, because we don't know. But signs of rotation, buying safety. What do I mean by that? Large institutions or hedge funds can put money into the Dow stocks ownership because you'll never get fired for buying blue chip stocks.
Yeah.
You have to allocate. So taking a risk off, putting it into blue chips, getting out of Nasdaq. Now we've got a bit of a sign of that. And by the way, big breaks. Everybody talks about October big breaks. That the market collapsed. October. The history of October. Well, those breaks start in August. They don't start in October. They usually kind of end there. So, is this a safety play by larger institutions? Well, we have a little bit of evidence of that, but we shall see. But it's very interesting. The Dow was pretty solid today against the backdrop of Nasdaq.
Yes, it was. I was just measuring out something here. We got a Fed rate decision coming up in a month. I see some people in the chat saying, rate cuts may be the reason we're going up. Last time we cut rates was December 18th, 2024. This is that daily candle. In the Dow, we did get a little bit of a bounce, but then we know tariffs came out. In the Russell, take a look at it. We cut rates, didn't trade back above 50%, and we're still currently trading in that candle right now. Wouldn't be surprised if on September 17th, the Russell is trading at 23.55, and then we see the effect of more potential rate cuts. Interesting. All right. Anything else, Coach Paul? Anything else you want to cover before we go? Somebody asked. Go ahead.
That's it.
Cool. Somebody asked about a J trade. Can we explain it? Sure. I'm going to explain it here on the daily in the Russell. What we're looking for is high volume at the extreme of a move, usually 2 times or more the average volume. When we get that candle, we can kind of see in this zone here, we had it. We're looking for a close above, and this is to the long side. Close above this, risk goes on the other side, and you're looking for a 2 to 1. This could be, and anything we talk about here is for educational purposes only, not any investment advice. The markets are fractal though, right? This could be a pretty good swing trade opportunity. I'm not telling anybody to do anything, but interesting to see that. Interesting to see that. So that is that J trade. That's what we're looking for. High volume exhaustion and a reversal. Sometimes high volume means continuation though. So you want to make sure you get confirmation of a candle close. If you take it before it, you're preempting the trade. Could it work out? It could. But it is lower probability at that point. All right. I think that's it. I think that is it. Coach Paul, you got any words before we go close it for the day?
Same as always. Plan your trade and trade your plan. Understand that your edge doesn't happen every day. It's over a series. When you understand that, you can begin to calm your mind down and execute your plan. That's it.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, Coach Paul. I'm going to end it with my line from my journal. Choosing not to take your signals is a choice. It's an interesting choice. Trade well, everybody. Manage your risk. We got Coach Hoop doing a class in Discord in 15 minutes. Coach Robert's doing one right now. And we have Ray and Vince 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Central Time. And then, of course, Dakota with slow markets at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Aaron with the London Open, 1:30 a.m. Central. And D with the Euro Trade at 3:30 a.m. Central Time. Talk to you all soon. Have a great one. See you tomorrow.
Bye.